This is the region of ankle joint. You can see this ankle joint region from 4 different positions. From in front, from behind, from the medial side, and from the lateral side. And according to it, you will see that we divided this region unusually, yeah? Not like usually in 2, but unusually into 4 compartments. And as in any time of my educational process, we start from borders. Topographical anatomy starts from borders and continues by layers. You know, my subject has 4 methods of investigation. You remember holotopy, syntopy, skeletal stratigraphy. Yeah? But to describe these 4 methods, we will make limitations. We should understand how much these 4 methods work, up to which imaginary lines. To say, write or remember, borders of ankle joint region. That is 2 circular lines. Upper circular line or upper border. It is located in the level of upper margin of medial and lateral malleolus, or upper pole of medial and lateral malleolus. As you remember, in the same time, it is the lower border of the leg region. So lower border of the leg and upper border of ankle joint, of course, coincide to each other. What is the lower circular line or inferior border? The same way, guys, but now from inferior pole of the malleoli. Now you palpate the inferior pole. By the way, it will be not problem for you, look to me. It will be absolutely not problem for you to palpate your malleoli. Why? Because in the region of the ankle joint, as in the region of the foot, by the way, muscular structures is not so good developed. Instead of majority of the muscles, you have tendons, which is smaller, thinner, and doesn't close the bones like in upper portions. Try to palpate the bone in the femoral region. It will be approximately impossible. Except, for example, trochanter major, except the medial lateral epicondyles. In mid part, you cannot do it. Why? Because big bulk of muscles cover the bone. Approximately same we have in leg region, but not in the ankle joint region. So we provided 2 circular lines. We mentioned upper border, we mentioned lower border. Now let's come to the subdivisions and write, please. Region number 1, it is anterior ankle joint region. Okay, let's now identify what is the borders of it, how it is divided from 3 in other compartments, because as I say you, ankle joint has not 2, but it has 4 compartments, yeah? By the way, for all these 4 compartments, we mentioned upper and lower borders. Now we should mention medial and lateral borders to subdivide them from each other. Now, more than simple, guys, I can do it for anterior region. Look to me. I palpate the anterior margin of medial malleolus, anterior margin of lateral malleolus, and whole distance, which is located between them, we call anterior ankle joint region. To say once again, guys, from medial side, we have anterior margin of medial malleolus. From lateral side, we have anterior margin of lateral malleolus. From up and down, I don't say, because that is common circular lines, yeah, which we described a minute before. We understand the borders. Let's come to the layers. Layer number 1, skin. Now 1 minute, look to me. We studied together several regions of the joints. Before this region, we speak in previous semester, we spoke about the cubital region. In this semester, we speak about the knee region. Now we come to the ankle joint. And you know, there are some specificities which is common for all these regions. And specificities belong to skin also. If you will look to your skin in this region, primary, you will see that it doesn't cover by the hairs. Secondary, you can find that no any gland production, generally active production, we don't have here. That is commonly, guys, the rule for the joint regions. If you look, for example, back to your cubits, front of your knee region, you will see that also not so developed from the point of the view of the glands. Why? More the glands, more the chance of inflammation, more chance of the swelling. Of course, it will be impossible to make flexion and extension. So evolutionally, these regions doesn't have, by the way, samely for hairs. If there are hairs, there are follicles. If there are follicles, they can be inflamed. If they will be inflamed, we can have swellings. And again, functions of the joints can be simply loosed. Let's say, what is the characteristics? Skin is thin, but in the same time it is very elastic and movable, because that is the place of your joint work. By the way, which work we have in this joint? Primary two main movements. That is the plantar flexion, extension, and plantar flexion. Anteriorly in your leg, we have plantar extensions. Posteriorly in your leg, have plantar extensions. There are small rotational movements, but primary, that is two main movements which we have here. Layer number two, it is subcutaneous fatty tissue. Now, friends, not now, but in your home palpating this region, and you will find that not any soft pads is not palpated, means fat is not good developed. Fat is not good developed in this region. But fat is very loose, means no any septus we don't have in the fatty tissue. And that is the cause why inside of the fat of this region, by the way, like in the fat of your dorsal foot, we can have accumulation of the liquids and formation of the swellings. In the future, you will have the patients, for example, with chronic heart failure or some kidney disorders. And if the drainage of the lymph or of the venous blood from the lower extremities will be decreased, especially in these two mentioned regions, I mean ankle joint region and dorsal foot. Look, I don't speak about plantar foot. I speak about dorsal foot. We will see accumulation of the liquid, formation of the pads, because the fat is very loose. Because in fat we don't have any septa, we don't have any separation. Is it understandable for you? Super. Fat has content. We have vessels and we have nerves. By the way, vessels, of course, is veins, no arteries. Now, which veins we have here? Minute attention to me. In this picture, you don't see the fatty tissue, yeah? Because that is the level of the tropophysia, yeah? But if it will be fatty tissue, guys, immediately here in the medial side, immediately in the level of anterior margin of your medial malleolus, you will see huge big vein, which is saphenum magna. Little bit deep to this vein, you will see nerve, which is nervus saphenus. So remember forever, please, in the fatty tissue, in the level of the anterior margin of the medial malleolus, we have vena saphenum magna with nervus saphenus. By the way, both these structures will be descending to down to the dorsal foot region. And as you remember from anatomy, in dorsal foot region, venous network will be formed. And we will have so-called dorsal venous arch. Dorsal venous arch, guys, that is the place of origin of two superficial veins of the lower extremity. From the medial side, vena saphenum magna is originated and ascended to upwards. Veins goes from down to up. And in the lateral side, you can see formation of parva, which is after goes to the back side. And from back side, it is goes to upwards. How much? How much?
Till the level of
Till the
femoral region.
in femoral region you have the saphena parvavi. You confuse me. How much it goes to upwards? Question for everybody. Exactly, immediately. Which knee you mean? Anterior knee? Yes. It's the joke, friend. In anterior knee, big veins. Both veins. It is guided, by the way, exceptional. Saphena magna generally everywhere, located anteriorly, and in leg, and in thigh. But in the knee, it is posterior structure. Tell me why. Why it is a little bit backly located in knee region?
It is in the back of medial contact.
Friends, if I don't mistake in my previous semester, then I just start to work with you. I told you that in science, in science generally, not in medicine only, there are two types of all scientific investigations answering to two questions, only two. Who can say me these two questions? All science answering to two questions, only two. Why and how? Now you simplify my subject and usually you answer in question how it pass. Much more deeper knowledge you will achieve if you will try to answer in question why. Why it means you go deep to some evolutional specificities. Okay, we understand how it passing back. Why it passing back? No, it's more simple than some, I don't know, ice cream, guys. If it will be in front, during the flexion of the knee region, it will be compressed. Because in front, you don't have enough soft tissues touched to your anterior knee. Do you feel a lot of soft tissues? Of course, anything big, any big tube, which will be in anterior knee region, will have the great chance during the flexion to be pressed into the bones. Another situation we have in the back, big bulk of the soft tissues and enough place for any vessels and nerves. Why your main vessels and nerves? I don't speak now about superficial, I speak about deep. Why they located in back of the knee? In the thigh region, the anterior structures. Femoral arteries doesn't locate it in posterior leg, posterior thigh. They locate it in anterior. But then they descend it to down in the knee region. They appears in the backside. Now again, evolutional question. Why in the thigh region, anterior region is more preferable, but in the knee region, posterior one, evolutionally is better? Now we come to this field of the questions why, which is very important. If you want to be good specialist, only how it's not enough for you. How the hormone is produced, how the nerve transmitted impulsation, how kidney located. Much more important to say why. Why this hormone is produced. Why this nerve is past this impulsation. Why the kidney make its filtration or another functions. My question is understandable for you. Try to answer. Why in thigh anterior position evolutionally better than posterior or another's, but in knee the best position is posterior? And what? In thigh you don't have that fat in backside? You have this fat only in front? Really? That's why your thighs is fatty from in front, from behind. They are very dense and no fatty. That is funny, friend. That is funny. You know, you answered the question. I'm very, very sorry. But that kind of the answers I call production of voice. I'm very sorry, but that is production of voice. Answer for answer. Much more better to make pause and to try to understand, instead to immediately give some answer. Why?
Maybe because posterior are more traumatized.
Because the best option here, which I can have, it is anterior medial surface. I told you 100 times that medial surface, it is the best protected surface against any trauma. Now you can ask me, but why in the knee I don't have it? Simply palpated your medial surface. Do you find here a lot of soft tissues? No. Means in this level it will be just in the surface of the medial epicondyle, and it can be simply pressed to medial epicondyle. It can be crushed. Especially this is active movable region. Say the single option which I have in knee region for the location of big vessels and nerves, that is back. Not lateral side, not medial side, of course not anterior side. But say, friends, that is so simple. Just, what do you need? Even not the big knowledge to answer in this question. You need the interest to the medicine. This medicine should be not boring for you. If it will be not boring, you will try to find these simple, pure logical answers. Do you think that these logical answers I read in special books? Really? As I remember, please, once again, then we speak about anterior ankle joint region. In subcutaneous fatty tissue, in the medial side, we have vena saphenum magna, we have nervus saphenus. In the lateral side, near the anterior margin of lateral malleolus, we have one more nerve, which we call peroneus superficialis. That's why in medial side, we have saphenus. In the lateral side, you have peroneus superficialis. What is your name, friend? Charles. Dear Charles, what do you remember about this nerve? Nervus peroneus superficialis. Paul, my previous class, I spoke about it, I drew it for you in the cross sections, and I described it for you. Please, friend Charles, I listen to your options. Believe me, I ask you not to confuse. I ask you to see how you ready from your previous homework. Friends, every my class I say you something to refresh this idea for you. I really love you very much. And you can check it by my attention to you. I am ready to help you in all possible ways. But sorry, my love is finished in that time. Then I see that you are not respectful to my subject. Now let's be correct to each other. Means that if I will see that you don't study my subject, doesn't matter how much I will love you, I will do my best to punish you. Punish, I mean not physical punishment. I speak about marks punishment and all possible complications. Now let's be understandable to each other, because I'm sure that without my subject, as I say in start of my class, you cannot work in medicine. You can, but like killer. You can easily kill the peoples without medical this knowledge. But you cannot treat them. That's why, Steve, I wait your options. Nervus peroneus superficialis. What does it mean? Imagine that somebody, some beautiful girl, invite you to movie theater and you will see the movie in Japan. Will you appreciate it and will you understand it, friend? Now we have the same situation. You come to classroom which is speaking Japan with you. I'm sorry also, friend. I'm very sorry that I'm not helpful for you. But this problem connected with your lazy behavior. Study the language of my subject if you want to understand me, friend. Language of my subject, it is knowledge which I give you. Of course, it is the branch of the common peroneal nerve. As you remember, inside of superior musculoperoneal channel, common peroneal nerve, we draw it together, split it into two terminal branches, peroneus profundus and peroneus superficialis. Peroneus profundus comes to the anterior leg, connected with anterior tibial vessels and forms anterior neurovascular bundle. Superficial peroneal nerve primary enter inside of the lateral compartment, in upper third and in middle third, innervated muscles. In lower third come to the fatty tissue. Same, even in lecture I told you, same we see for musculocutaneous nerve of upper extremity. As you remember, in upper middle third, it's innervated anterior muscles. In lower third, it is in the radiated skin. That's above these nerves, and peroneus superficialis and musculocutaneus, both is mixed. They have a motor and sensory fibers. Motor for muscular, sensory for skin. So remember, guys, that is not hard. Once again, in fatty tissue, medially, saphenum magna, saphenous, laterally, nervus, peroneus, superficialis. By the way, same nerves you will see in the dorsal foot. From ankle joint, they will descend it just to down. Let's continue. Layer number 3, superficial fascia, doesn't have any specificities. It's just in fat, it has in fat, it doesn't form anything. Layer number 4 is proper fascia. Pay attention to the picture, please. This proper fascia develop not samely in all regions. There are two places of very thick proper fascia location. One is located near the upper border, second located near the lower border of the region. And this proper fascia in that two compartments has a panevrotical form. It's so thick that it becomes to the ligament, to the aponevrose. And it forms two structural units. Pay attention to the picture. It is extensor retinaculum superior and extensor retinaculum inferior. What does it mean, retinaculum? It means fixator. Behind of these two ligaments, we will have tendons of extensor muscles, which has come from anterior leg. Again, I remind you, anterior leg contain plantar extensors, they make that movement. Posterior leg contains plantar flexors, they make opposite movement. The tendons of plantar extensors pass behind of these two ligaments, which we call extensor retinaculums, upper and lower. Minute attention into the picture. Upper extensor retinaculum belong not so much to ankle joint. It's located in border between the leg and between the ankle joint. That is upper margin of the malleoli. It is passed from laterally to medially, from downwards to upwards. It is fused to the fibula and fused with the tibia immediately above the malleolus. Lower one have little bit more complicated form. In the lateral side, it is one band. In the medial side, it is split into two. It has the Y-shaped form. By the way, in the lateral side, it is fused with the calcaneus. In the medial side, it is split into two portions. Upper fused with medial malleolus, lower fused with the navicular bone, which is located just in front of your calcaneus medially. That is, guys, what you should remember from the osteology of first year of your education. Remind me, please, the bones of the tarsal and metatarsal regions.
Talus,
How many bones we have in tarsal? Name.
talus, calcaneus, medial navicular, middle navicular, and lateral navicular.
From that point, you start to make the mistake. Navicular bone is one, and we don't have any medial and any lateral navicular bones. It is one immediately in front of the head of calcaneus. And we have the Chopard joint, which is formed between them. You mentioned 3. Talus, calcaneus, navicularis, but you say 7. Where is another 4? Where is another 4? Friends, it's impossible to cook curry with the meat if you don't have not curry, not the meat. It's impossible to speak about top anatomy if you don't have knowledge from normal anatomy. I say it 100 times, and again I see the same situation. Please. Super, super, guys. Of course, we have 3 cuneiform bones, which is located in front of your navicular, medial, intermedius, and lateralis. And you have cuboid bone, which is located in the lateral side of them. That is 7 bones. 3 cuneiform, 1 cuboid, 1 navicular, 1 calcaneus, and 1 talus. Friends, again and again I tell you, refresh or restudy these questions. If you don't know the bones, we cannot speak about topography. If you don't know vessels, we cannot speak about projections. Uncomparable these, all my subject. Once again, inferior retinaculum laterally fused with the lateral surface of calcaneus. Medially, it is split into 2 bands. One goes to medial upwards, second goes medial downwards. One is fused with the malleolus, second is fused with navicularis. From the inferior, I think I break that. From inferior, this retinaculum, 2 septa is originated, which is go to our tarsal bones. By the way, lateral septa fused with the cuboid medial surface, medial septa fused with the lateral surface of calcaneus and partly navicular bone. Yeah? And they divided all space, which is between retinaculum and the bones, into 3 channels. Do you understand me or not? I am proper fisher. U3, it is the tarsal bones. Now I raise my 2 hands to you. For example, one is attached to your right, second to your left. And you can see that all this space split it into 3 channels. Medial, middle, and lateral. Is it understandable? Inside of these 3 channels, we have 3 tendons, and we have neurovascular bundle. Which tendons we have here? From medial to lateral. From medial to lateral. Look in the picture, please. Tibialis anterior, flexor hallucis, hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus. That is 3 muscle which have anterior leg region. From medial to lateral. Tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum. By the way, I want to remind you that extensor hallucis longus started from middle third of the leg. In upper third it was absent. In upper third we have only tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus. Starting from middle and lower third, and even in ankle joint region, you can see tendon of 3 muscles. Is it understandable? But sorry, except the tendons, we have neurovascular bundle of anterior leg region, and it should logically descend it to anterior ankle joint, yeah? Because below anterior leg, you have anterior ankle joint. And where is it? It is immediately in middle channel, together with the tendon of extensor hallucis longus, approximately between extensor hallucis longus and extensor digitorum longus. Let's say it is inside of middle channel, but little bit shifted in the lateral side. Do you understand me? It is in the middle channel, but little bit shifted in the lateral side. My dear friend, what is your name? Anantu. Friend Anantu, then I say neurovascular bundle of anterior leg. What I mean? Anantu come first time in jungles, open widely eyes, and look to the wild animals of the jungles. Please, Anantu, which investigations you can do among of these wild animals? What, Anantu? Life has a lot of surprises, yeah, for you. It is, by the way, Albert Einstein say more than 60 years before. You remember his proverb about this situation? No? You don't listen it. Life has a lot of surprises if you didn't study in the school. Can you explain what want to impress Albert Einstein by this proverb? Life has a lot of surprises if you didn't study in school. What does it mean? What does it mean, Anantu? Why life has so many surprises if you don't study in school? Sorry? What? In the future. Albert Einstein by this want to mention the future. Friends, just the logic. Why life has a lot of surprises if you didn't study in school?
Not having knowledge.
Of course. You don't have knowledge and everything is confuse you. Everything. The wind is confuse you. The clouds is confuse you. Sun is confuse you. Rain is confuse you. Human body is confuse you. Because you don't understand. Only by spiritual ways you can explain something which has happened. You understand me? So if you don't want to have a lot of surprises, friends, study my subject. Otherwise you will open your eyes like in jungles and will not understand what about teachers speak. Or maybe you want to be every time confused. Maybe you like it. What is anterior neurovascular bundle of leg region? Super. And two veins. That's an anterior tibial artery with two veins, together with nervus peroneus profundus, otherwise she call it deep fibular nerve. That is synonyms. Located inside of this middle channel, little bit shifted into the lateral side, as I say. Once again, under inferior retinaculum, there are three channels, which is formed by two septas, originated from this retinaculum. Inside of each channel, we have one tendon, from medial to lateral, tendon of tibialis anterior, tendon of extensor longus, hallucis longus, tendon of extensor digitorum longus. Inside of the middle channel, a little bit shifted into the lateral side, we have neurovascular bundle of anterior leg region. She is absolutely right. Arteria, two veins, tibialis anterior, and nervus peroneus profundus. Just open the brackets and write, please. Inside of this region, we remove vessels, and we call them dorsalis pedis. Dorsalis pedis. In English, it will be dorsal foot vessels. Yeah, arteria vena dorsalis pedis. Now we must to recognize, guys, the place of projection of these structures. And to recognize it, we must to remember how these vessels projected in leg region. Remind me, please, how we projected these vessels in leg. As I see, life has a lot of surprises for you also, yeah? A lot of surprises life has for you also. By the way, friends, because I love you so much, for future is very important for me. I see that for you, not so much. For your parents, it is very important. That's why they pay money for you, to give for you good education. But for you, I say it is not so important. If, friend, you want to be a powerful person, especially have the power in medicine, change your behavior. Many times I ask you, I don't want to continue, but you know what I want to say. I don't want to confuse you, really, but I want to show that this is the bad way. And you continue to go by this way. I don't know why. I'm sure that you don't have children, you don't work in the nights. I'm sure that you are absolutely normal student with a lot of free time. Use it a little bit more effective, please. I will give you your answer on this question, guys. That is imaginary line which is connected Gerdi tuberositas together with midpoint of distance between medial and lateral malleolus. Same midpoint of distance between medial and lateral malleolus will be place of projection for arteria dorsalis pedis, upper place of projection. 1 minute, wait, I don't finish my speech. Where is lower point of projection for these vessels? First interdigital space. So if I will make now a new line which is connected midpoint of distance between medial and lateral malleoli with the first interfinger space, it will be imaginary line which is projected arteria dorsalis pedis. Otherwise, arteria dorsalis pedis projected by imaginary line which is connected midpoint of distance between two malleoli with first interfinger space. Do you remember it? Right, or remember once again, dorsal pedis vessels together with, of course, deep peroneal nerve. Yeah, because this is neurovascular bundle projected by imaginary line from midpoint between two malleoli up to the first interdigital space. By the way, inside of this neurovascular bundle, nerve has medial position towards the vessels. As you remember, 1 minute look to me, in each third of leg region, this position is changed. In upper thirds, as you remember, nerve is located laterally. In mid third, in front. And in lower third, medially. You want to sleep, my dear? No. Go wash your face. Go, friend. Go wash your face. So in upper third, it's located laterally to vessels. In mid third, it's located in front of vessels. In lower third, medially. And same medial position, it is kept in ankle joint region. It is still located medially to them. By the way, samely, it will be located in dorsal foot region, medially to the vessels. Now we need attention. Dorsal pedis artery has great practical meaning in case of pulsation identification. We should palpate the pulsation of this artery to see how your extremity is supplied by the blood. Which place is more comfortable for us? I give for you now projectional line, yeah? Border between upper and middle third, approximately that is the level between your navicular and between your cuboid bones, here. It is the most comfortable place for this peripheral pulsation identification. Again, I tell you, you divide it above given imaginary line between 2 points, yeah, into 3 equal parts, upper, middle, lower. And you take the point between upper and middle thirds. Why this point special? Yes. If you will take upper point, midpoint of distance, here it is covered by retinaculum extensorum. It's carried deep. Soft tissue, proper fascia here is very thick. If you will take the lower third, here it is split into the branchings. The less will be diameter of the vessel, the lower will be pulsation, and will be not simple to identify it. But border between upper and middle third, it's best placed due to number 1, superficial position, number 2, big diameter. Because of these 2 characteristics, you can simply palpate the pulsation. No any problem. Do you understand it? Super. If you understand, write the name of next region. It is the medial ankle joint region. Now, need attention to me, please. It's very interesting, guys, what the borders of this region. It's not hard. Look, from in front, it is posterior margin of medial malleolus. From behind, it is the medial margin of Achilles tendon. Do you imagine it? So once again, I show you. From in front, it is posterior margin of medial malleolus. From behind, it is medial margin of Achilles tendon. Hey, boy, which conclusion you can make now? Medial malleolus doesn't include it, not in anterior, not in medial compartment. Anterior compartment started from its anterior margin. Medial compartment started from its posterior margin. Now, where is the medial malleolus? It is outside of the ankle joints. Why? Because from surgical point of the view, I don't describe the bones, I describe soft tissues. I don't need to include it, just the bone structure inside of the some compartment. Do you understand? Bone, it is bone. In the level of this bone, there are only one important structural unit, which I will introduce you after. It is malleolar arterial network. Malleolar arterial network, which is located under the proper fascia. Why malleolar region? Again, I don't describe together with others, because soft tissues is completely non-developed. And skin and fat and fascias, it's not good developed. That's why you can simply palpate the bone. Why? Because soft tissues is bad developed. Do you understand me? Write or remember, skin. It's very specific, guys. It is again thin, like in anterior region. Again elastic, but now not so much movable. If anteriorly we have movable skin, here no. Tell me why. Simply, friends, because that is not the surface of flexion and extension. It's medial compartment. I don't need here any big. I don't have any active movements to that side. If not there are any active movements, why I need to have very movable skin? That is nonsense. Fatty tissue, it is hardly developed. Inside of the fatty tissue, we don't have the main trunks, but we have branches of saphenous magna and saphenous nerves. Not main trunks, which is in anterior compartment. It is only branches. Superficial fascia, again, doesn't have any specificity. Proper fascia. In mid portion of this region, look here please, in middle portion of this region, not in upper, and not in the lower, in the middle portion of this region, it is greatly developed, and it forms the now flexors retinaculum. If anteriorly you have extensors retinaculum, medially you have flexors retinaculum. Which flexors I mean? Of course, deep flexors of posterior leg region. As you remember, 3 flexors: tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and flexor hallucis longus. Yeah, they are located in posterior compartment. 1 minute attention to me. This ligament, which we call flexors retinaculum, have a second name also. We call it ligamentum lacinatum. Lacinatum, the lucid, it means shining. Then you use, for example, flash of the light. During the surgery, it gives the shine. Because it has not only horizontal fibers, but it has transverse fibers also. That's why it has such kind of the shining effect. Say, ligamentum lucinatum. 1 minute, look to this ligament. From in front, it is fused with posterior margin of medial malleolus. From behind, it is fused with the medial surface of calcaneus. Do you see it? Really, do you see it? 1 and 2. This is posterior margin of medial malleolus. This is medial surface of calcaneus bone. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Repeat it, please. Into which structures it is fused? Yeah, why not? Are you my student?
Yes, yes. So in the posterior and the medial it fuses.
That is what I say here. 3 times I repeat it, especially for you.
The posterior medial malleolus.
No, I don't say any posterior medial malleolus. That is not my idea. Once again, listen to me.
Yes, sir.
Anteriorly, it is fused with posterior margin of medial malleolus. Posteriorly, it is fused with the medial surface of calcaneus. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Repeat, please.
So in anteriorly it is the posterior medial malleolus. And
No, we don't have posterior medial malleolus. It is your it is your fantasy. If you need, friend, I can repeat it once again.
Yes, sir.
You know, my grandmother has little bit more better memory than you. Once again, I will tell you. From anteriorly, it is fused with posterior margin of medial malleolus. From posteriorly, it is fused with medial surface of the calcaneus bone.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Repeat it,
Sir,
please.
anteriorly it is the posterior margin of the medial malleolus, and posteriorly it is the margin of the medial calcaneus.
Super. Right. Continue
Yes, sir.
in this way. Once again, I say you for the most clever persons. Anteriorly, it is fused with the medial margin. So posterior margin of medial malleolus. Posteriorly, it is fused with medial surface of calcaneus. Now 1 minute, look to me. She is medial malleolus. I am the calcaneus. He is the retinaculum flexorum, which is fused with us. We together forms the osteofacial channel. Why osteofacial? We are bones, he is fascia. Between bones and between fascia, osteofacial channel forms. Is it understandable for you? Just right, please. Between this retinaculum flexorum, medial malleolus, and calcaneus bone. Do you understand, friend? You are medial malleolus. I am the calcaneus. He is proper fascia, which is called here retinaculum flexorum. We forms together osteofacial channel. No. Not space. Channel. Repeat it, please, what I tell you. Just repeat it.
Between two bones, that is
Name.
medial malleolus and the calcaneus and the retinaculum flexorum, that is osteofacial canal.
That is good. Call it, please, canalis malleolaris. Malleolar channel. And look in the picture, please. Once again, now we speak not about just the proper fascia and the bones, but we speak about channel. They fuse to each other and they form the channel. Now, walls of this channel, I think it's understandable. From in front, medial malleolus. From behind, it is the calcaneus. From medial side, it is retinaculum flexorum. And floor of it will be medial surface of two bones, calcaneus and talus. Talus is located above the calcaneus. Yeah? If you look to the floor of this channel, you will see medial surface, because this canal is looking medial side. Yeah? Medial surface of my left hand is calcaneus. Above it, my right hand, it is talus. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Super. Content of this channel. Inside of it, we have 3 tendons and 1 neurovascular bundle. Now let's start from the arrangement of these tendons. How they located towards each other. We call it syncope. Now look to me. From in front to behind, you can see 3 tendons. By the way, each one in its own synovial sheath. From in front to behind, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus. Once again, they located sagittally. You will be tibialis anterior, she will be flexor digitorum longus, I will be flexor hallucis longus. 1, 2, and 3. Is it understandable for you? Now we need attention to me. Between our friend and between me, we will have neurovascular bundle. That is neurovascular bundle of posterior leg. You remember in anterior ankle joint, we described neurovascular bundle of anterior leg. In posterior region, we describe neurovascular. Алло. Привет, Просто let's continue. Let's say in anterior region, we describe neurovascular bundle of anterior leg. In medial region, we describe neurovascular bundle of posterior leg region. My dear friend, remind me please, some problem with my vision? Let's remove the glasses. Tell me please, which structures forms these neurovascular bundle? Two veins, as usually, and name. Name, please. How we name this nerve? This is one of two terminal branches of ischiadicus. Ischiadicus divided into two branches. One branch gives the anterior nerves. We mentioned before, yeah? It is the common peroneal nerve, which gives the superficial and deep. How we call the second terminal branch of ischiadicus, which is much more bigger than the previous one, by the way. Nervus tibialis, of course. So remember, please, as she said, this is posterior tibial vessels, and this is nervus tibialis. But what is interesting, guys? If in anterior neurovascular bundle nerve is change its position in any third, in posterior no. Nerve is forever in all length located laterally to the vessels. And this lateral position, it is fixed also in the canalis majores. Is it understandable? Then once again, inside of channel, as we say, we have 1, 2, 3 tendons. Between second and third tendon, this I-part, it is neurovascular bundle, which has 3 elements: artery, double veins, and the nerve. Nerve has lateral position. But sorry, that is not whole information. Tell me please, what do you remember about projection of this neurovascular bundle? How we project it in leg region? No any circle. Look to my fingers. What I show for you? What is it? What is it? What is it? Brilliant. Now, which part of this popliteal fossa you will use for projection of this neurovascular bundle? Maybe not upper. Of course, lower angle. In the level of the lower angle, arteria poplitea enter inside of the upper ring of the Gruber's channel and split it into 2 terminal branches. That's it. 1 minute attention to me. For the projectional line, upper point, it will be inferior angle of the fossa poplitea. What is the inferior projectional point? I wait. Please. It is midpoint between Achilles tendon and medial malleolus. Read it, please. What are you talking about?
It's a point of the lateral.
Midpoint of medial malleolus and lateral. Friends, especially for you, sleep in the night, not in the time of my class. I say midpoint of distance between medial malleolus and Achilles tendon. Remember this. Once again, look to me. Upper projectional point, it is inferior angle of fossa poplitea. Lower projectional point, it is your channel, otherwise midpoint of distance between Achilles tendon and medial malleolus. Otherwise, it is our channel, which I described for you. And do you know why in the channel I finish its projection? Do you know why I finish this projection inferiorly inside of this channel? Because here it will be finished. Artery will be split into 2 terminal branches, nerve will be split into 2 terminal branches. That's why here I finish my projection. Right, please, inside of the channel, arteria tibialis posterior split it into 2 terminal branches, We call them arteria plantaris medialis, arteria plantaris lateralis. And same is happened with nervus tibialis. It is split into nervus plantaris medialis, nervus plantaris lateralis. So artery split it into two plantar arteries, nerve is split into two plantar. Now do this. She show now two arteries. I show now two nerves. And you can see formation of two neurovascular bundles. By the way, in the medial one, nerve will be more medial, artery will be lateral. In the lateral one, vice versa. Artery will be medial, nerve will be lateral. Remember, please, this picture. From sides, you have the nerves. Between nerves, you have arteries. Do you understand it? That's why, once again, we need attention to me. Inside of our channel, which is called canalis malleolaris, posterior tibial artery, together with nervus tibialis, split it into two terminal branches. Artery gives medial and lateral plantar arteries. Nervus gives medial and lateral plantar nerves. Now, last sentence right. They forms together two neurovascular bundles, medial plantar and lateral plantar. By the way, you can write or remember that in medial plantar, nerve will have medial position, vessels lateral. In lateral, vice versa. Vessels will have medial position, nerve will have lateral. Do you understand it or no, guys? Super. Last question. How we projected these two neurovascular bundles? How we projected these two neurovascular bundles? Upper point of projection will be the lower point of projection of tibialis posterior, yeah? Midpoint of distance, because from that point, one artery is finished, another artery is started. One artery finished, two arteries started. That's an upper point of your projection. It is midpoint of distance. What is the lower point? Now look, by plantar surface, for medial, it will be first interfinger space. For lateral, it will be fourth interfinger space. Do you understand or not? Look in the plantar surface, everybody, please. Look to me. Look everybody to the picture, please. This is upper point of your projection, midpoint of distance between medial malleolus and Achilles tendon. Now, by plantar surface, medial one will come to first interfinger space. Lateral one will go to the fourth interfinger space. Maybe somebody didn't understand. Tell me, I will say again. If you understand, write, please. Medial neurovascular bundle, plantar, projected from midpoint between medial malleolus and Achilles to the first interfinger space by plantar surface, not by dorsal, by plantar. You understand? You draw this picture, this line, not in dorsal segment, but in the plantar. For second one, the same point between medial malleolus and Achilles, but now you connected it with fourth interfinger space. Again by plantar surface, through the plantar surface. Do you understand it or no? Super. Now, very quickly, guys, last two compartments, don't write anything because it's more than simple. You can see that text is less than previously because content is not so important. Let's start from posterior region. Thickest skin from all another regions you will have here. By the way, borders. Borders, guys, you can describe in two ways, but much more better will be say it is coincide with the size of Achilles tendon. That's a eupulpated Achilles tendon. It has two margins, medial and lateral. So medial will be medial border, lateral will be lateral. That's why this is way which you must superior, inferior, you know, two circular. Skin are not only thick, not only elastic, but very movable. Skin skin is thick, usually you think that thick skin is unmovable. No, friends. In whole joint regions, which I studied with you, posterior cubital, anterior knee, now posterior ankle joint, everywhere skin is very thick, but very elastic and very movable. Skin doesn't have no hairs, no glands. That's why here we can say dry skin. Of course, much more dry it is, for example, in posterior vital region, but here also. Skin has folds, natural folds, which is located in transverse direction, usually 3, sometimes more. Subcutaneous fatty tissue is very bad developed, guys. Inside of the fatty tissue, we have terminal branches of vessels and nerves. From medial side, primary, that is the branches of saphenous magna and nervus saphenous. From the lateral side, mainly it is branches of parva, saphena parva, and nervus suralis. I want to remind you that vena saphena parva in the lower third of the leg region pass with some unique nerve, which we call nervus suralis. Tell me please, why this nerve is unique? Nervus suralis. Or maybe it's not unique. What is make this nerve unique? Maybe friend Mirza, you? Is it unique nerve or not? Remind me please the origin of it. I draw it for you guys. What the matter to be confused? Mirza, tell me please, what do you remember about the borders of leg region? The most simple question which in my subject I can ask to the student. It is just the borders. Please. By the way, one from these two borders today 100 times I remind. I say that inferior border of leg, it is coincide with superior border of ankle joint. What is it? I will check now not only your knowledge, but how you are attentive in my class. What is inferior border of leg, which is coincide with superior? Yeah, you must mention what is it, friend? That is my question to you. What is superior border of ankle joint?
The connection point distance between the middle and the
Absolutely. Distance between medial and lateral malleolus we call anterior ankle joint region. We don't call it the superior border of the ankle joint. Do you ask me? Do you ask me question or you answering my question now? Because by your intonation I don't understand. What are you doing? Mirza, then in summer or in winter, you will go to your home. What you will say to your parents? That you greatly study and do hard work in the university. Okay, if you will say to your parents, suddenly they will ask you some medical question. What you will say in that time? That your teachers is stupid and don't teach you anything? So how you will explain then why instead of the huge money which they pay in university, you don't have knowledge? So look, I don't speak about your long memory. I speak about today's information, which I 100 times repeated during my today's class. Superior border of ankle joint, same to inferior border of the leg region. Now tell me, what is it? I don't need your any short, long memory about first year education. Today. You can ask me, you can say, sir, why among of all these students, you ask specially question to me? Now ask me this question. Ask me, please. Say, sir, why from 20 students, approximately, little less, which we have now, or more, 21. Why more than from 10, 21, 20 students, 21 students? You ask specially to me. Do you know why? Why? You use your fantasy. That is not the medicine. First of all, I ask today not only you. That is the answer of this question. I asked several students, but again, it doesn't answer in my question. Why especially you? I will explain you. Here's that. Because during my classes, not only you,